So when we get into an adapt way of thinking, we get into an understanding, we get into the mental of everything that we're supposed to do as we've been having these conversations every day, as we had in book club yesterday, as we've always going back when brothers don't understand the initiation or being part of something, don't understand the power when two or more gather. I always use the analogy of going against the grain, and we can all go down the stream together. I always talk about how can a man or a woman say they love God but never seen it, but hate their brother. That represents righteousness, that represents change. I tell brothers all day, when someone's trying to bring you to righteousness, that's that person's essence. If we bring, listen to the psychosis of this. We bring so much drama and so much negative stuff to our brothers and sisters, but when we get something that we love, we can't bring this. We can't bring this to our friends and show them the joy of what we have. I think that's an honorable thing to do. I really do. So when we talk about this science and we talk about man-made in the image of God, or Elohim, or whatever you want to call it, and we talk about the essence of this, when we say, well, we teach this Sufism and the Islam that we under is understanding that God and man is one, and anything outside of ourselves is true shirk. And no, we're not orthodox. We don't do anything orthodox. We do things the right way. We don't do anything based on tradition. Because if you're going to base any law based on tradition, well, then that's the case. It's so many traditions. So that means it's not based on nothing. Understand what I'm saying? And if that's the case, you got so many different facets of Islam, you got so many different facets of Christianity, you got so many facets of this, that, and the other. How can you have all those different facets and we're using the same book? We're using the same science. Someone has to be making something up. Think about this.
Yep, sound motivated.
Yes. So when we talk about the human body and how we're talking about understanding ourselves, a lot of us think we know ourselves. But man, you can yet to become a tree if you don't understand the God essence. Because as soon as something happens to us, what we do, and God this, and God that. But what God are you calling on? What are you saying? What's the manifestation? When do you spend time with that you're calling on? It don't mean nothing. Why? Because you're not used to doing that. It's only in an SOS moment.
Mm-hmm.
You see? When a man say they know themselves, okay, well, what does that mean? What does that mean when you know yourself? What does that mean?
Indeed, see.
You see? It's just like when we dealing with the purpose-driven life and Maslow on chapter 6, and it starts off with, man, the first thing I have to do is confer with that higher essence. To make a sound decision.
Islam. Because from the source, that's how you become resourceful. Yes. You know what I'm saying?
We talking about we controlling this. You're not controlling nothing. It's something. It's something that controls everything. What? Decision, choices. Think about this. Even the pressures that we create on ourselves. But what do we choose to run to? Pills, medication. So how do you know? So what do you know about yourself? What do you know about yourself, really? What do you know about yourself, really? We have these skills to do certain things. But what do we know about
constantly don't
ourselves?
know. They constantly covering up with things.
You see?
Instead of unveiling. Instead of taking off layers that, of the dead skin, so to speak, in an analogy, right?
Islam.
That's why I say,
the snake's got to shed his skin every season. So do we.
Mm-hmm.
That's what the whole thing of the analogy is circumcision. You could be circumcised more than one time in life.
Oh, no, but now you're teaching. Now you see, now you get into our Rosicrucian teachings. Now you see, and I knew knew it was going to pull it out.
The Rosicrucian is the first chapter of the book that you told us to read. It was talking about the Rosicrucian.
Islam.
No. When I speak science, brothers, that's why all my European Islamic brothers be like, man, like, I don't know what brothers is looking for. Like, how many times do you have to speak what we get from you, sir? So
I'm speaking on what I got from you, so.
Yeah. So it's normal. It's normal. This is the schoolmaster. That's why I encourage us to spend the same time and effort in what? Learning about what? Learning about it and proper instruction that's available for us.
Our self-law master.
Yes. To the general good. To the general good. It would be 20 or 50 times greater than it is. And the reward for our appropriation and the work that we put in. It's never too late to learn, to start now, to study. See, this is the beauty of it. And the Rosicrucian, when people be talking about I show people in corners, I'm dealing with 99 degrees. I'm not dealing with 32 and 33 degrees when snowman freeze, in meteorology when water freeze. I'm not dealing with nothing secret. I'm not dealing with something that I'm not going to teach to my kids. I'm not dealing with spookism or dogmatic stuff. I'm not dealing with potentate. No one is a potentate over me. My brothers, this is a covenant. All my brothers are guys. I'm just like a sensei, a map and a guide.
Islam and a
A holy
Rosicrucian.
man in the flesh, a prophet and a guide. All my brothers are the same things that I am.
Islam and a Rosicrucian is just a member of a society that possessing ancient occult wisdom. You know what I'm saying?
A sheik is a map and a guide of a small group of men.
Islam.
That's why I be laughing at people. I say, no, I ain't your sheik, and that's why you mad.
The 12 disciples.
You know? Because your sheik is not learned enough. Your sheik is not astute enough. Your sheik don't have the aptitude enough to be a holy man, a God man, a righteous man, and can move from a little city of Flint, Michigan, and be in a red state and move all over with joy. And how I move, my brothers move. How? Just like that.
Come on. When I move, you move. Just like that.
Islam. Indeed.
That's the power. And the Rosicrucians teach that we have a dual nature. A material body. When I talk about the 360, it's just the sum total of material wisdom. And energized by spiritual essence. You know? That's 720. Is the sum total of what? Material and spiritual.
Islam.
You see? And it's not a new idea by any means. It is the basics to all major religions, most of which call the internal essence what? The soul per se. Yes. See, that's why he said we are a group of mystics. We understand this. That's why in what we teach at the Burning Bush, we understand all the science, all the Gnostic scriptures. We're supposed to. Why? Because we are philos. What is a philo? A philosopher.
A love
What are
of
we?
wisdom.
Yes. How we think? We are Socratic thinkers. We base things on law and the information at hand. We base it on the pen and the dating and the common dating. We're not basing nothing on a theory or a belief system. We don't roll like that. See? Very clear. And in recent years, science has begun to adopt a similar view. Many men prominent in the fields of biology and biological chemistry now admit that the existence of intangible something which affects the material being, a something which they are not yet prepared to identify. This seems very much like the soul of religionists and us as Rosicrucians, the understanding that mind frame as an adapt thinker per se. We say every human being uses two kinds of energy, the physical energy and the soul, or aka the psychic. When we speak on that psycho energy, clemency, our physical energy. Yeah, it comes to us from what we eat and drink, and from the air we breathe. You can think something in your mental and something to happen, like hysteria. You can think something, you can think yourself sick. You can think certain things. So if you can think shouldn't you have that same power and that same understanding to use that same frequency and that energy to bring man up?
Islam.
To heal. Yeah, to heal.
Yes.
We was just talking earlier, and I told him that I have not been sick in over 2 years since. You remember last time I was sick, right?
Mm-hmm.
2 years ago.
Yep. It's what we're doing. You give it glory. People don't get it. They don't get it. They think giving glory is just all read. No, man. We understand this. This is a lifestyle. This ain't nothing we just do on Sunday.
The 7 days without more science makes 1 week, and that's WEEK and WEAK.
It's a commitment.
Yes. And a small part of our psychic energy comes to us this way. But most of it comes through our psychic centers. These centers can be linked to transformers, which tap the seeds of energy around us and condition it for the youth. Just like Noble Malik said, man, I hope you'll come half full. Why? So you can get a boost. Because I hope your cup half full. Why? So you can get a boost. That's why we talk. Excuse me. That's why we talk about that great seed of that vibrating energy. What is about a seed of energy per se? Us as adapt thinkers, we teach that all this energy vibrating at different rates. Everything we can see, everything we can feel, everything we can smell, we can hear or taste is a form of what? Vibrating energy. Everything is Allah. Everything is God. How? I just told you. A 100 years ago, today, all of it's the same. All the scientists agree that the physical matter is made up of atoms. Here we go again. When I talk about the Bible is written in analogy and parable and symbology, I already broke it down. The 6 protons, the 6 neutrons, the 6 electrons. As I was breaking down the book of Enoch and showing you the replacement and showing you December 25th, and that's Mithra. Showing you so much stuff in the biblical scriptures. Showing you that the Bible said it was going to be Jews from all nations. Showing you names of those people in the Bible, showing you the areas and the from, then showing you artifacts and everything that's in monuments, that's in Europe and Russia, without a doubt, leaving no room for a doubt, leaving no room for doubt. Composed of electrons, protons, and neutrons, all in a violent motion. In other words, particles of energy moving at an incredibly high speed. When you talk about that wheel and the wheel up in the middle of the air, as I broke down the other day, that eye of providence, when you think all these clocks and all this, but when I talk about everything has a sign and a symbol in it, when you turn it a certain way, you see the eyes and the veins, because this is what it is. We're talking about the eye of the providence that you think is on a dollar bill. Mm-hmm. See, we're talking about what's been proven all through the years. I already done did it. No one can deny the words of the ancient, of the adapt thinkers. It's already been proven. It never was a time when man was not. You must think about this. And the Rosicrucian, or the adapt way of thinkers, we go a step further. And we maintain that not only the material world, which you can see with the plain eye, but the air we breathe and the space beyond, from here to the stars, is one great seed of what? Energy. Because all energy, what transforms? All energy goes back to what? Itself. You must think about this. This is no osmosis. This is a transfer. Come on.
Yep. Like you said,
this is electricity.
Things have different vibratory rates. You know what I'm saying? Like, even a table is just made up particles vibrating so fast that it seems solid.
Yes. Yes. And the physical world vibrates at a relatively slow rate. But as we move away from it to a higher level, the vibratory, that rate increases while the texture becomes finer and more tenuous. See, that's what you're saying. And this finer energy is not only out in space, but it's all around us, notes. Mm-hmm. In it, we live, we move, energy, this life force, which our psychic centers pick up and transform, it steps down, per se, from our use in the physical and the emotional and the mental action. And we will study vibration and the psychic centers all through perception and through detail as I continue to demonstrate this wonderful essence of the psychic ability of the mind. And we must know that it all functions in every one of us, and in some more effectively and efficiently than others. Why? Because that tool is being worked. That's the only way. Everybody is born with it. What you mean? Yeah, everybody is born with it. What you get, when you get it, what you gonna do with it? Like they said, I can give it to you, but what you gonna do with it? How are you working it? What your garden look like? How are you tilling it? Man, your garden is a mess. There's no fruit bearing in that garden because there's no tilling. There's no work to bear what? Good fruit.
Islam.
And when the psychic energy is stepped down to a point where it's used by the physical body, what happens, it manifests itself very much like what I like to call the electrical current or the electrical energy, only more in a subtle manifestation. And just like electricity, it's polarity. And this polarity can be controlled. Think about this. Most people have too much energy of negative polarity and not enough positive. See, when I talk about the simplicity of things, when I talk about positive thoughts and positive affirmations, this is the simplicity of doing these affirmations. Thus, they are out of balance. And balance is very difficult to achieve and even more difficult to maintain. And adaptive thinkers like myself and others, we call perfect balance harmonious or harmonium. And when I speak about this healing process, when we speak about this, they say, why do you speak about it? How can you speak about it and speak of man-made in the image? Because it's joy. Because I can break man down and build us back up so a child can understand. That's the essence of joy. When you have something, it's a gift. That's why too much food and all low-grade emotions tend to overbalance your body to a negative side. When you have too much genetically modified organism, when you have too much sugars and all this, your body is going to react in a certain manifestation. That's just a must. Leaky gut is going to happen. There's going to be so many things that you're going to say come from your family. And the only thing that came from your family is negative eating habits. Doubt. And when you become too negative, some sort of illness is manifested. We talk about that in psychomacy.
Yep.
And this is your body's way of telling you that you have been doing something wrong and to stop it. I used the analogy when Noble Maso was demonstrating in a video yesterday. And we talk about our vehicles. And I say, your check engine light will come on, you're running, put oil in it, clean your car up. Oh, I got a date with my wife. Let me go clean my little stanky car out. Let me go do all this. Let me shine my tires up. But you won't do that to self. You just cover up self. You just put new garments on filth. That's like putting new wine in old vessels. Come on, we know they all crack. But let me cover it, and when it get the leak, you're gonna ask for help. Why should we help? You know them vessels was cracked when you start dealing with it. Don't start begging nobody for no help. And it's also possible to overbalance yourself on the positive side. When I talk about narcissistic behavior, when I say, well, it all depends on the context as it's used. Because in a certain context, that means discipline. That means research. I can break everything down in its essence. Just like when I break down the words, when they say be humble, and I tell you to look up the etymology of humble, or be nice. Look up the etymology of nice. I tell you to have gratitude and be respectful and treat others as you want to be treated. But I never tell no kid to be humble. Never. I never tell them to be nice, because what's being nice? What?
Being foolish.
Thank you. side, and this usually results in nervous tensions or mental illness. That's why I tell everybody, they say, Sheik, you should have so much, you should have so much notoriety. I said, check yourself. I don't need no notoriety. I don't need to be known for stupid stuff. I don't need to be known for nothing bad. That's why I can be here and speak what I'm saying with a bullhorn on any corner. Because I don't care about no notoriety. Man, I teach the truth. No matter if it fill a room up or clears it out. I don't have no fake degrees. I understand. I'm still up.
You just said something because my son was looking at some negative stuff on the internet some years ago. And I said, this is how they look at you in society. I said, let me go look at something that you can apply to your life. And I looked at the Constitution, right? And I said, look how many people view this and understand this. It was like 1,000. But the stuff that they was looking at was some real ignorant stuff. It was like 1,000,000. I said, now, do you see the difference between wealth and being poor?
Mm-hmm.
I said, so you can learn. You have the openness. The internet is there for you to learn. All the information is there. But you're choosing to have a poor mindset by doing the same thing everybody else is doing. So we're not looking for a whole bunch of people. We're looking for the right people.
Yes.
And that group is small. Many are called, but only are chosen. So with that being said, you might not be the right fit, and that's okay. We still have to move forward with these teachings, this lessons, with this science, with this knowledge of self. We're still moving forward. Nothing stopping this train. The train's already going. When we come through your city and make a pit stop, is you hopping on or is you staying where you at? Islam, I digress.
Islam.
Man, well spoken. Well spoken. Well spoken. Especially,
and it's no love lost. No love lost. No love lost.
That's why we talk about this practical method. It's to be moderate in all you eat, you drink, you refrain from indulging the lower emotions, and to think clearly and to think often. Remember, most brothers don't think, they react. They basing everything on anger. Well, my mama this and big mama this. This is what we telling you. Yeah, we telling you this. Why you mad? Why you angry? Why? Because big mama didn't know too much, so she told you what all she knew. Be thankful for that, and let's move forward. Because you are in the flesh. We're not basing nothing on tradition. You see? And we definitely out here begging for no reparations. You see? And this is no joke. We talk about the human body. We talk about us as brothers, as thinking. None of us thinks enough. When we talk about really thinking, and usually when we imagine we are thinking, we are merely playing or relying or replaying an old emotional record in our mind. But you should think or contemplate in everything you do. When we attain this harmonium, this is a way we activate things. How, listen, many normal everyday things have an elevating influence on us. And it helps us approach the much desired harmonious, or which we call harmonium. The contemplation of beauty in any of us, in any form, is an asset. Laughter too is a great healer. And of course, what? Clear thought. But in addition, the Adept Thinker, we offer exercises which are designed to create the necessary counterbalance in order to bring you nearer harmonium. This is what Noble Malik was talking about. What? He went there in one of the Adapt chambers this morning, getting the workout, and nobody's catching it. I say, Adapt being initiated itself is the way we live.
Yep.
You see? That's why I say the type of Islam we under, this is Sufism, mapping God in the flesh. We don't have no problem with that. That's why we be telling people, like Malik said, hey, the door is open, the train's there. We stop, we teach it. It's still love. When we come back in the city, we just come to teach and keep it pushing. That's it. No love lost. Because see, one exercise is designed to correct a condition which is excessively negative, and the other is designed to accomplish the opposite objective. namely to correct an over-positive condition, stay in the science. And when we use these exercises as the adapts, which we are, we always go in our space. We always go in our chamber. We always talk about that holy breath. I talk about sitting erect and breathing. All these things what people take for granted. When I talk about relaxation and then proceed with the proper exercise. When we speak about counterbalance, a negative condition per se. It's too many ways to work the exercise of the mental. These are keys. When I'm always talking about erectness, when I'm always talking about in a calm place, all these things, these exercises are adequate. I don't want to get too far in just the processes, but when it's being applied, this is the very way of study. This will be the way to study yourself. It requires only that you give it your attention and your interest. And simple as it, I'll be saying to people like, well, is that simple? Yes. That's the first step into a higher awareness. That's the first step from the world of efforts into the world of causes. And as we progress, you will see that certain of your words and actions are unworthy of the image that you put yourself in, that you will correct them. And when this process happens, and when this alchemical process happens, you will see it. You will come to realize you have adopted a higher standard, and that many of your former, how can I say it? Many of your former worries, many of your former frustrations and defeats, they no longer trouble you. See, this is true events in your life. May not have changed to any noticeable degree per se, but you will. You will now see them in a new perspective.
Mm-hmm.
In which you are no longer a pawn of fate, but a powerful individual who is beginning to have a hand in a certain creation of his or her own destiny. See, the adapt thinker.
She read that again about the faith part. Say that again, please.
Okay. We talk about in which we are no longer a pawn of fate, but a powerful individual who is beginning to have a hand in the creation of destiny. That part.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. As we gain a greater insight into the way of things that really are acquired, which is knowledge of cause, you will find the ability to generate certain causes and control their effects. This is power, brothers. In achieving it, we must go through carefully of what? Understanding. Remember that the world in which we live is a gigantic laboratory with people like chemicals per se, and all interacting with each other and affecting the whole world or the whole per se. Each act of ours, everything we do, we say, we think, even our emotions we give weight to this, has an impact on everything around us. We can attain the rank of master chemist in the laboratory per se. If you but follow diligently the instructions that's given. It's just like in anything, if you're in the martial arts and your sensei or your Sufi, whatever you call it, you're going through the ranks and you're going through your peons. You don't have a problem going through that because you're achieving something. And getting the black belt don't just mean I'm ready to learn. Many people believe that the adapt thinker or the adapts how we are to be some religion or some orthodox. No, it's not so. The adapt way of thinkers, the Rosicrucian way of thinkers, the brotherhood that we promulgate, we have no dogma. An essential in every world religion. That's why we talk about the triple roads. We understand it, the Paraclete, the Fatimid, the Jerusalem, the Christian per se. We understand it. Why? Because we teach the essence. We are the essence of that. And we don't require to believe anything that nobody teach. That's why I say we must study. This is a school. You may accept or not, as our brother said, Malik said eloquently. You may see as fit as you want to.
It's a school of thought.
That's right, Noble. But us as adapt thinkers, we seriously urge you not to accept anything that you cannot prove or in some other way satisfy yourself of this truth. See, our teachings and writings are not based upon statements of great spiritual leaders per se, but are the accumulated discoveries and how can I say, deductions of many men gathered over the course of centuries. Intelligent men, dedicated, experimenters, driven by the desire to know, are constantly improving and adding to this adapt way of thinking, this adapt way of teaching. And thus we are always a step ahead of accepting scientific thought. When brothers be talking that they apprentice. I know you an apprentice. I know. Believe me, I know you a snowman. I know you 32 degrees. I know. And the possibility of atomic power was suggested in monographs released in the early 1926, around that time. And some hints on it were given. Equally true, but not yet scientifically accepted. See, all this stuff about how the world operates and how the planets and how you evolve and this way of thinking, how all the parables and symbology goes to everything that we talk about. I'll give a little synopsis of chapter 2, and then I'll stop. We talk about the principle of karma and how you can make and remake your future. All these understandings. We talk about resurrection. We talk about all the holy books, from the Brahmin text to the Vedas. It all go back to the same manifestation. We just don't understand words. But they gaining understanding to yourself. And ultimate control of your destiny is a knowledge of karma per se. Karma is a Hindu word, which literally means action. And today, its meaning is extended to refer to the results of action. And many people understand karma as the working of the law of cause and effect. It's true enough, brothers and sisters, but the definition is too broad. The law of cause and effect applies on all planes and under all circumstances. A tumbling pedal, brothers and sisters, on a mountainside can precipitate a landslide, which means it can happen, just that little brush. But it's only by a stretch of the imagination that we will refer to the landslide as a karmic result of the pebble in motion. See? And when we use the word karma, we refer to the results in how can I say, embedded by, how can I say, this volatile action. Karma is very essence that implies the presence of what? Motion. Which in turn is a necessity, or the cause of that is the exercise of free choice. And to put it in more layman terms, or more accurately, then we may define karma as the working of the law of cause and effect, as it applies to the results of what? Decisions reached and thoughts held by what? In soul forms of capable of what? Free choice. And you and me, we are just as in soul forms as are all men. And in its karma, as it applies to you and I, that I will describe in this dissertation per se, we must not overlook the fact that the groups of men and women, small and large, permanent and temporary, are also in soul forms, and as such create karma. Think about this. This accounts for group karma, which adheres to permanent groups such as family, city, nation, race, temporary groups like society, business, organizations, corporations, clubs. And then when we consider karma as it applies to you, we can see, and you will see the study. How one is its causes, two, its workings out or its effects. 3, how it may be molded. And 4, we talk about the steps to take to liberate from this what? This karma. And we are fond of saying all men are created what? Equal. But we ourselves do not accept this liberty. No one is blind or so foolish as to imagine that there is an actual equality of ability or environment or conditions of birth for all. Because then 2 questions arise. The first one, is this inequality the result of karma? And number 2, is it fair? And the answer is both yes. Think about it. We are today the end product of our own decision and actions, both recent and in the distant past. Think about it. We white where we're supposed to be. Why? From our actions, from the choices we made. This is nothing osmosis. What are you talking about?
Our choices is our opportunity.
Yes. In business, we talk about a SWOT analysis. See? Every thought, every emotion, or wish, and every action creates what? A form of karma. And you, as a thinking entity, me as a thinking entity, have been thus creating karma for thousands and possibly millions of years.
Yep.
So if these thoughts, ideas, desires, passions, and acts are benevolent, so-called good karma results. If they are malevolent, evil, or difficult karma, that's created. So the good or evil per se, in the thought process we generate, attaches itself to us and remains in our life, current, until we have what? Satisfied it. By what? Balancing it out.
Balancing out, yeah.
Think about this. Now, I'm not saying, oh, do this and do this, all this. No. Think about this in the spirit for a minute. Which man say they not have made of spirit, or a part of them is not the essence. We don't deal with those, but we love them.
Isn't that taking the good and the bad and creating the balance?
Come on, over. That's when we say we don't have to, a part of us don't have to die. That don't make sense. So cut a part of yourself and see if you're going to survive. I ain't never seen that. Man was not made in no image of nothing ugly or no animal or no dog. He was made in the image of God. Point blank.
Yeah, your spirit is made to be used in polarity. So you can
Yes.
swing the pendulum to the same way to the right as the left.
Come on, Nova. It must. See? That's why the laws of nature are invariable and immutable. That's why man and woman recognizes this, although he or she frequently attempts to defy these laws. Watch this. The chemist in a laboratory knows that he or she may expect certain well-defined results if he or she places 2 elements in close proximity in a definite set of conditions. And if these results are not achieved, he does not assume the law has changed, but considers that he or she himself has made an error. Think about this. Nature intends you to be happy and successful and to enjoy the fruits she so bountifully supplies. If this is not true for you and I, you may be sure you have broken natural law, either currently or in the past, and that you are now suffering the penalty for what? Infraction. And this is not punishment in the sense that we punish evildoers per se, but a rather balancing out of energies. Yes. And if you obey the law, you may confidently predict a harmonious and happy result. For nature is conquered by what? Obedience to what? Her laws. Man, we speak about this positive energy. This positive energy of this karma that energizes you. The most persistent and lasting karma comes from the thought forms that have been energized by your will. The great Oriental teachers, they describe it as following, and I quote, "Every thought of man upon being evolved passes into the inner world and becomes an active entity by associating itself. Coming together, we might term it with the elemental. this is to say with one of the semi-intelligent forces of the more subtle kingdoms of matter. It survives as an active intelligence, a creature of the minds beginning for a longer or a shorter period. How they promulgate, how they come together with original intensity of the cerebral action which generated it. Thus, a good thought is produced as an active, as a benefit power, as a key, an evil one, as a maleficent, or how can I say, a lower thought. They like to put it in a thought, but you can make it plain as the demon per se. And so man is continually peopling his current in space within a world of his own, crowded with the offsprings of fancies, desires, impulses. You talk about the lower self, passions, the current with reactions upon sensitive and nervous organizations which come in contact with the portion of ourself or our intensity. Think about that. Think about that for a little bit. I said, because even though a part of our nature is inconstancy, it's still a part of us that's divine. When we understand these certain keys.
Yeah, that's deep.
See, this is power.
Because it's saying,
this is what they don't want. Brian, they don't want accountability.
It's just like it's saying, like how we be saying all the time, the God power or the satanic energy is manifested, has to work through man. And right here is basically saying the thoughts that you hold, I'm saying, become these energies manifested. If they good thoughts, I'm saying you'll manifest quote unquote good energies. If they bad thoughts, you'll manifest, I'm saying, quote unquote demonic or bad energy.
That's the only way.
Mm-hmm.
See, let's think about what it means.
Power of choice.
Come on, Malik. See, the average man's present stage of development. See, every single one of his thoughts, it passes through, and is colored by the desires, by the desired body on the way from that active consciousness, created originally as a mental entity. It comes into being as a vibrating force on the mental plane. What? That doubt, that lower self. It's a vibrating energy from the original idea of the pattern, because you know what's going to happen. It's premeditated, which remains on the mental plane. What you attracted, what you molded, and the forces of each plane. This is below the mental, on its way to the active physical consciousness when it becomes played out. That's why the energetic creations, they so molded by the idea attaching themselves to you, to I, and they remain with us for a longer or a shorter time. If we working on that, depending on the original intensity of the thought which created them. Think about this, and the re-energizing effect that a repetition of this thought has upon that person as the adapt way of thinking. You see?
Mm-hmm.
We're talking about this self-created, this energetic beings, this elementals, so to speak, existing in the finer grades of matter and hovering about you. That creates your karma. Think about this.
Come on.
You say what, Noble?
No, I'm saying, come on with it.
Yeah. See, it's these active entities are responsible for what you know as sensation. They translate the vibrations that impinge upon your awareness or your consciousness into what is known and recognized by you as sight, feeling, taste, smell, and sound. And then they manifest themselves physically in this manner, and also more subtle. Like when we talk about the snake per se, or that alcohol per se in that context, it's subtle per se, but very strongly in emotional field. And we just not saying to drunkenness per se, but we saying drunkenness that you can be physically alive but spiritually dead, but we can smell it on you. We see the spirit. We know what angle that spirit is coming. That's what I tell people. Invite all spirits. Let's smell them out, because the true spirit of God of Allah is going to always know a person's angle. That's what Noble Malik is telling us clearly.
Islam.
We are made in the flesh, so we stand in front of things, face on.
So sheep.
That's why we get our power from a higher source.
Islam. So sheep, given what was reading and applying that to how can you say like the fallen angel, when it speak about the fallen angels in the book of Enoch, you know what I'm saying, the demoralization of mankind. I'm saying you can apply that to that, how it's saying that what to go back and say it is in the cloud of self-centered energetic beings, elemental so to speak, existing in the finer grade of matter and hovering about you that create your karma. These active entities are responsible for what are known as sensations. They translate the vibrations and impinge upon your awareness and into what is known and recognized by your sight, feeling, taste, smell, and sound. But in the beginning, it all speaks about, you know what I'm saying, thoughts. You know what I'm saying? You know, an angel is only what? An angel is a thought of Allah manifested in what? The flesh.
Come on. The Bible is written in an analogy.
Mm-hmm.
It's just what it is. And if a man can't really admit that and say that we don't know, that's the problem with man.
Because they say that the angels fell for lust of the daughters of men. You know what I'm saying? That's a sensation.
Yes.
You feel that's a thought in itself. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Man, somebody needs to break that down for themselves and think about what was just said right there that Brian just spilled on him.
Indeed.
To build up the perfect man. We're not here to argue with no one. That's why I said when we teach, we go places, all men be there with a smile on their face. They say, we're not here to argue with no one. We deal with people with righteousness. If you don't want to deal with righteousness, that means it's a place for you. This not it.
Yeah. It's wrong.
That's the power of God, man. When I say, man, you make a choice. When I say we're not lukewarm with our understanding, we're not prejudiced with our teachings. 1 Thessalonians 5:21, it clearly says, prove all things and hold fast to what is good. What we're doing is resurrecting the teachings. You can't say you're so smart and historical and have these degrees and call yourself some Freemason and some teacher of the people and act like you don't know what I'm saying. You have to admit that a lot of stuff that I'm saying you might not have known or you heard or is locked up in your secret science. But the truth must be told. And so I give gratitude for y'all brothers taking the time out y'all day for listening to me, man. Like I said, have pride in what we're doing. You don't have to be clear of what we teach and what we promulgate, because truth has no size. Any questions, brothers? We out of here. Any questions? We got any questions? We welcome everybody to come to Sunday school tomorrow. It's going to be on fire. We welcome brothers to come to our book readings for study. We welcome brothers to come, and like I always ask brothers, have you ever been to the lectures? Have you ever been to these things where you can come to a lecture and get understanding and reason, and then write question down, and the scholar will answer questions, not based on what he thinks, because you shouldn't give a dang what I think. You shouldn't care what I believe. I base everything on what can be proven, and I challenge you as a thinker. This is what I do. The same way I was challenged in academia. The same way I'm a peer. The same way I can speak from peer-reviewed scholarly research on a plethora of levels.
Islam.
So, with that being said, nobles, if there's no questions, man, I love y'all. Have a good day. Let's do our Morse American prayer. And someone can lead us with our benediction.
Islam. Gratitude for the teaching and the lesson once again. It's always a pleasure. Always edifying. Thank you for the food and the edification.
Man, it's always a pleasure, man, to see y'all, brothers, to hear y'all. Because God, me and I always want to be in the essence of his brothers. And like I said, it's not just healing for y'all, this is healing for me. And I take I take what we do and I take our brother here, our brotherhood dear to heart, and I take our message we promulgate to the world as dear. So you got to remember, man, no one said it's going to be hard, because it is, but it's not that hard. And when we come together, man, we can accomplish way more than what we can by ourselves. So with that, I say, man, gratitude for the brotherhood, and this gratitude for the word being spread. No matter how it's being spread, no matter how much or how little it's being spread, because in order to handle the thousands, you must be able to handle the tens. And before you handle the millions, you must be able to handle the thousands. So I'm able, all I want is my will and God's will to synchronize. And if that happens, then I will have my heaven on earth.
Amen.
Allah, the Father of the universe, the Father of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Allah is my protector, my guide, and my salvation. By night and by day. By His holy prophet, true Ali. Amen. Ayah, Shalom, Aleichem. And now for our talisman benediction. May the benediction of Allah be and thine always, as thou should strive to be a credit to Allah. Make haste to bestow thine acts of love upon thy brethren, and do the best to shun thine evil. Remember to take suckle of the breast of knowledge, wisdom, fortitude, charity, and all standing, that you may nourish the souls of men. Let truth be the shield, the manifest battle of force. Know that Moors need not to pick the locks of the gates of paradise by means of petty or criminal death. For behold, the key to salvation already rests within thine own hands. And yes, even though a portion of our nature is weakness, instability, and inconsistency, there's still the greater part of our nature that is divine. May Allah protect thee, guide thee, preserve thee, lengthen thy age, and give thee everlasting peace. Ar-Rahman, Ar-Rahim, Al-Haq, Ya Muhammad. And at the BBT, when we say Al-Haq, that's Arabic, and it stands for the truth. And when we say Ya Muhammad, that's Arabic, and it stands for the protector. We see ourselves as truth protectors. So we casting our net out to all true and divine lights, because the truth has no size. For the truth is one, as man is with Allah. And with that, we say peace and love. Peace.
Love y'all, brothers, man. Peace and love, man.
All right, and thanks for coming and showing up to class for our guests.
Thanks for keeping that door open. Love y'all, man.
Islam. Peace and love.
Y'all have a good one. I appreciate y'all.
Yes, sir.
Islam, you're welcome back. Islam.
You're always welcome.
That's right. Peace and love. Peace and love.
Peace and love.